People fear it's the beginning of World War III. You have the #1 and #2 Air Force in the world bombarding you. You have aircraft carriers from every sea. Listen, don't fuck with the U.S. If anything comes out of this, don't fuck with the U.S. And as a secondary note, don't fuck with Israel.
We've seen on a couple news stations the women throwing their hijabs into flames and stuff. Well, actually, that was from those videos that they're showing us are from protests from like 4 or 5 years ago. All those ladies already got executed.
There's a unit of the IRGC that are on the ground. These are the guys that go and attack the protesters. So now we are just now attacking them. People are saying U.S. don't have an interest in this, but that's complete bullshit. If you just do digging, right? That's literally the 80% of the oil in the world comes through there. Do you think that they literally would just say, fuck it, we're going in, let's blow the leadership up, and que sera, sera? You don't think they have some sort of exit strategy? That would be political suicide for Trump. First off, welcome back, Attorney Michael Dye.
Hey, Danny.
Welcome back, Attorney Lloyd Golburgh.
Thank you.
Welcome to Two Taps and Friends. Grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into another episode of Two Taps and Friends.
Welcome back to Two Taps and Friends. I'm the host of your show, Daniel Rosenberg. Today I brought my panel back, or my co-hosts on the show pretty much for most things modern or anything going on in the world. I always bring my favorite panel that I bring on, other than my kids. First off, welcome back, Attorney Michael Dye.
Hey, Danny.
Welcome back, Attorney Lloyd Golburgh.
Thank you.
So we're back to talk what's hot in the news right now, and everybody's talking about. You can't help but not talk about it. People fear it's the beginning of World War III. I'm not quite there, but the operation in Iran, epic fury. So we wanted to bring, we did an emergency broadcast. Well, we talked, what we did last a couple weeks ago or a couple episodes ago is we were covering the coverage of the protests that were going on. We didn't release it immediately, and then this popped off. So we did an emergency Zoom where we had Brian Silber and Lloyd and I, and we covered the, up to the minute stuff as soon as it came out, and we combined it with the protest and how we got to where it was, and all those people that the civilians that the Iranian government slaughtered, pretty much. They have a history of doing this. They've done it many times before. But want to turn to you guys. First of all, the Iraq operation where it is right now, there's a lot of confusion as to, not confusion, but a lot of, people don't really know what people's complaints are. We don't even know what the plan is. What is the exit strategy? A lot of the stuff that you talked about in a prior episode. But first, as far as operation goes, within the first, I think, 30 seconds of the operation, put up that photo of the Khomeini complex, if you don't mind, Dan. They took the leadership out immediately. I mean, that's the hole that's created. They literally took it. They had intel, which is incredible, that, told them that who was there, when was there. I mean, Israelis have assets there. The United States has assets there. So they knew, and they took them all out. Apparently, since then, the son has been promoted.
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing reports that he, if not taken out, is severely mauled and hurt in another attack. I saw a funny meme, like you're dead before you even start. That's a terrible gig. They're just going to go and take these people out one by one. But
he had his inauguration ceremony, and it was a cardboard cutout of a torso, with limbs and a picture of his face.
Was that real? I thought that was a joke going around.
I believe that was real.
Oh my goodness!
But who knows what's real anyway?
Listen, if I was him, I wouldn't go out there. I'm like sending body doubles. Like, yeah, I need a stunt man.
I mean, he hasn't shown himself publicly. That doesn't make any sense.
But right now, kind of makes sense,
You think so? I think he would come out publicly at least to feign support for his.
Right, but where, Lloyd? People. Now they're you have the #1 and #2 Air Force in the world bombarding you. You have aircraft carriers from every sea. Listen, don't fuck with the U.S. If anything comes out of this, don't fuck with the U.S. And as a secondary note, don't fuck with Israel, okay? And then you fuck with both, right? Mike, I'm going to turn to you because I can see you about to burst, right? Because I know your position. I know you don't like Iran.
No.
But I know you take this whole, I think, not reasonable, isolationist position. But tell me what your thoughts are on this as this unfolds. Because I had a real chance to, Lloyd and I haven't had a chance to really spat with you on this.
Much like when Saddam Hussein got executed, I don't really cheer for the death of any individual human, so I'm not going to be waving pom-poms in the air over it. But at the same time, I'm not losing sleep over the fact that the Ayatollah is gone. So probably a better world for it. So, I mean, that's my position. I don't really take much of a position on that. He's gone. Okay.
Right. What about us being in there and this whole operation? What's your thought? Because I know
I
you have
still don't like
reservations
it.
about this.
And
Tell me
here's
why.
And here you brought it up exactly what's going on. Is there is no exit strategy. Now, a lot
But we
of
don't
people,
know their exit strategy.
Yeah, there is no exit strategy.
But you really think, and I'm sorry,
I think it's a debate worth having.
do you think that they literally would just say, fuck it, we're going in, let's blow the leadership up, and que sera, sera? You don't think they have some sort of exit strategy? That would be political suicide for Trump, and that guy is going to preserve his fucking self.
He will preserve his legacy, but I think he is we'll cross that bridge when we get to it type of guy. Now, the problem you have, and I've heard people saying this, is once the political leadership is eradicated, the people are going to be dancing in the streets
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
not so
Now,
simple.
we seen on a couple news stations the women throwing their hijabs into flames and stuff. Well, actually, that was from those videos that they're showing us are from protests from like 4 or 5 years ago. All those ladies already got executed. All right.
That's lovely.
So right now, the problem that you have is that you've got the IRGC, who is like posted up in
40 years
neighborhoods.
embedded, right? 50
Yeah.
years embedded.
About I think it's what are they 110,000 or something like that.
And not only that, but yeah, and the big issue is that I was saying yesterday, they are now attacking, what is the name of that unit? The Basij, or there's a unit of the IRGC that are on the ground. These are the guys that go and attack the protesters. So now we are just now attacking them. And they think that once they take this specific, because there's different units within IRGC. There's a Soleimani guy they took out. He was in charge of one, and they have they have the Air Force, they have the Navy. These are the on the ground guys that are like preventing people from uprising. So they're thinking they take that out, but I don't know. But go ahead.
The problem is you have the IRGC and that are in the populated areas, which is what we're not attacking, and they're telling the people in Iran if you come outside of your house, you're going to be executed. All right, so
Who is telling it? Us?
the IRGC,
Oh, the IRGC,
is telling the people in Iran that if they come outside of their house and try to rise up like President Trump told them to, they're going to be executed. Now, the problem that you have in Iran is you do not have a armed counter militia, for lack of a better word. Now,
Well, they were talking about the Kurds.
the Kurds in the north, but they're more of a nuisance than they are a serious threat. And they're a regional nuisance in the north of Iran.
Okay.
All right, but at the same time, throughout the rest of Iran, you don't have a armed group that can step up and take on the IRGC. So what we have to right now, there's not going to be anybody dancing in the street, and the people aren't going to rise up and take back their country. What we have to, and what I think they're probably looking for right now, is a split in the IRGC. All right, where you can divide the IRGC into, people who are willing to cooperate with us and people who aren't willing to cooperate with us. And that is what we have to be looking for, a way to divide the military as it is right now. Because at the end of the day, there's going to have to, for the Iranian people to take their government back, there's going to have to be some fighting. And right now, the only people with the weapons are the regime loyalists.
And they're offering that. They're saying to them, clemency. If you put your arms down, weapons down, clemency. And there's actually, I was seeing that there's a no-kill list of specific IRGC officials that Israel has to go by. The United States has given specific names. Because from what I hear, the U.S. isn't so sold on the Shah's kid. What's his name? You know his name? Reza
Reza Pahlavi.
So yes, You know, he's out there and he's talking and
Yeah,
you
he
know,
wants to be the
but
new
I don't
leader.
know, like the populist, what their thought was on the Shah either, but obviously he's better than the IRGC. But it doesn't look like the U.S. is so interested in him taking over. So they have like a no-kill list for these IRGC. Because I think the mindset is your mindset. It's like, hey, they're very embedded. If we can get these guys to turn and work with the U.S., that's the best and safest enemy we know.
The
right?
problem is that the Iranian army isn't just the IRGC. You have the Iranian army, and then you have the IRGC. The IRGC are like the true believers in the Islamic Revolution. So it's going to be very difficult to cause a split in that group because of their ideology. But again, you know, you heard before in the beginning of this, people were saying that the Iranian people were going to take their country back. People were going to be dancing in the streets. Not true, because they have no weapons, and the people who do have the weapons are still there, and they're still patrolling the areas, and they will kill anybody who even comes out of their house, let alone tries to take a political step. So again, the only alternative we have a couple alternatives. We put our soldiers in there to go in and root them out, or we cause a split in, a power split,
Right.
to where we can get them fighting each other.
Right.
And then I have a big problem with that too, because once we cause a power split and we pick our side, then what ends up happening is we always end up giving those people weapons and training and all sorts of things, and those weapons inevitably end up in the wrong hands and pointed back at us in the not too distant future.
Right.
There's no
Lloyd,
way,
what's
there's
your
no way
thought?
we're putting boots on the ground, American
Right.
troops.
Give us your thought on this, Lloyd.
I don't think we're putting American troops on the ground in Iran.
I'd hope
Right,
not.
but-
I don't
but
think we
That
will
would be,
either.
that's a
It would be political
political
disaster, suicide.
And
but-
Trump is not about political suicide.
But Mike makes a good. But go ahead. Mike makes a good point in that these alternatives, these two alternatives, seem like strong alternatives. What is your thought? I mean, they seem like the most feasible alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're hoping that you have defectors, and I've heard that there are rumors that there are plenty of soldiers that are afraid for their lives and have come out publicly, faces blurred, but saying, we're all but done. I think that a political split would be unless you're talking about Israeli troops on the ground. I don't know that would necessarily be ruled out.
But Israel would do it
Israel would do it
in a heartbeat.
Right. I mean, but there's no stopping the United States because Trump's not going to quit. In other words, he's not going to fail. Right. However you determine failure.
That's the
What I'm
perception
talking
of his
about-
failure. It's
Right.
up to him.
Trump is never going to just say, okay, we underestimated, we made a mistake, and let's stop.
Right.
That's not going to happen. I just think that the expectation that was initially presented as to how quick this would be, I don't know how realistic that was. For all I know, it was realistic. For all I know, it wasn't realistic. It's a political hot potato, right? Because he can't say it's going to take this long because he's going to get blowback if it's too long. So he has to say, it's going to be pretty quick in order to, have that political buttress. But then you play that fine line where, wait a second, this is getting, taking too long, and what are we going to do? And it doesn't seem to be working. So it's hard to say. I think that I disagree with Mike's theory that we don't necessarily have a plan. I from everything I see from the way these people work, like them or not, this Trump administration, guys like Marco Rubio and Hegseth and these people, I don't think it's let's just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I think that, again, as whether you like or hate Trump, I do think that the man is playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. I think they do have a plan. I think that they've probably been working on it for a long time, and they have specific objectives.
Right.
And I think that they're going to carry out those objectives.
Right. I think that it brings up an interesting issue in warfare now because, especially in the Middle East, we have this superior firepower and wars change in that, you don't send tanks in so much anymore. You're attacking infrastructure. You have these amazing smart bombs, and you have these aircraft carriers and all these things.
Precision
But
weapons,
in these
lasers.
communities, it's very hard to get the roots, right? Like you're flaming the top of it, right? But these guys go run and hide in bunkers, and then slowly those roots grow, and they're back at it. And it's a similar thing you see with Israel and the Gazans and Hamas, and also it's an ideology too. You know, you have, like what he was saying, the RGC, these diehards. They're, you know, you literally have to go and yank them by their collars out and throw them in, and it makes it challenging to completely do that without the help of ground troops. Not that you want ground troops or someone on the ground rooting out the roots, you know?
And I, you know, I agree with that. I agree with what Michael said about the people rising up, because I just don't see it. You know, if you think about it from an emotional perspective, you know, it would be wonderful if they came out into the streets and took over their country. But that's a fantasy, it seems like to me, because when you break it down to a practical reality, who's going to be the person that's going to walk outside and you know, be cannon fodder for everybody else? Nobody, right? So I think that that's a pipe dream to think that they're going to rise up, you know, without weapons and take back their country. So the objectives that I believe that the United States and Israel have are going to have to, you know, continue. I think that this is a righteous cause. I think that
that's what I was going to get to.
This is an answer to your point about the ideology and how, you know, they just burrow in caves and they wait and come back and multiply and strengthen. But I think that if you cut off the head of the snake, I think that if you take out this cancer, okay, which is the Islamic caliphate in Iran, right? If you remove the head of the snake, you remove the money, you remove the funding, you remove, you know, then Hezbollah dies. Right, Hamas dies.
Boko Haram dies.
The
Houthis
die.
Right.
And I think that we have a real opportunity right now where we are to change the entire world forever by doing this. I think it has to be done.
Right. And so the question, it bears a question, and I'll get to you in a minute. I don't think we had a choice. That's the thing is, and I want to turn to how the Democrats and how the public and how the Republicans are responding, the woke right, and these people. And you see even Michael's against it, right? The conservative Michael. But like, I don't want to label you. I got it.
You're talking about the new moniker, the war of choice.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But my point is I just don't. When you're saying playing chess, I don't think Trump would do something unless he had no choice, right? I don't think that there was a choice. Can we pull up the map? First of all, let's pull up the map, the close map of Iran, if we could, Dan. So obviously, people are saying U.S. don't have an interest in this, but that's complete bullshit. If you just do digging, right? You have the Strait of Hormuz, for the listeners and viewers. If you see that down there over Abu Dhabi, Oman is on the border there. That strait that goes between Qatar and Oman, that's literally the 80% of the oil in the world comes through there.
Yes.
This is where China, Russia, all of these guys are trying. They use Tehran to have control over these areas as much as possible. Like right now, Iran is attacking oil ships, and they're sending drones to attack to disrupt the oil. You disrupt the oil significantly. If a country like China and Russia and Iran get stranglehold on our oil, everything gets affected. The U.S. can't play isolationist anymore, like you're saying, Mike, to this point. You can't ignore this. So you add this, and then you add in the fact that they're working on nuclear capabilities. Now, what I hear about that was, because you hear all that you bombed them, they didn't have the immediate capability to do something, and they came to the table, and they were willing to talk. They were, from what I heard in public, saying we're going to make concessions, but then behind closed doors saying, fuck off. And not only that, bragging about how they were rebuilding already. Yeah. So if you have to have conversations and you have to have leverage on these people for multiple reasons. Their ideology, geographically, they're a loose cannon. Look, can we pull up the other map of what's around them just to show what they attacked? Guys, pull up the other. So if we could see Iran's the huge thing on the right, the orange. They literally launched at Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, Jordan, Israel. Did they hit Saudi Arabia? They launched at Saudi Arabia too, didn't they? They launched at Saudi Arabia. I mean, these guys are literally, it's like a Tasmanian devil that you catch and is just lashing everywhere that you can. So you tell me these guys, if they got their hands on a nuclear weapon, and I know this seems like a played out thing for people, like, oh, well, they couldn't do it. They would launch it. These guys were desperate. They launched missiles at all their Muslim neighbors. What happened to the Muslim? We don't attack Muslim countries. What happened to that? That's out the door.
When was that a rule?
Well, they say it. They're quick to say it.
They've been killing each
I
other at
agree.
record pace.
I agree. I agree. But my point is, and I'll turn to you first on this, Mike. Do you still think we have that we could be isolationist and ignore all this, and that we're just pushed into Israel's war? Clear, Israel has a fucking immediate interest in this, right?
More than ours.
But of course. But do you think Trump's the kind of guy that's going to do something because somebody's pushing and pressuring him?
I find that laughable.
Hell no. That guy will do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He posted crazy picture of like Obama with the monkey. I couldn't even understand what the fuck that was. That was crazy, but he just does what he wants to do.
Who in their right mind hate or love Trump? Or love or hate Trump?
Exactly.
Would think that anyone else could lead him anywhere.
Well, if you push back on any hate
so
against
foolish.
him, then you automatically love him. That's just the way the society is right now. What is your thought on the isolationist issue? Because I'm interested
Strait
to
of
see.
Hormuz. 80% of the world's oil goes through there. Guess what? The United States doesn't need any of it.
He's right.
All right? We have enough here. First off, back when Citgo was Venezuela, I would not buy gas from Citgo because they stole they stole the American oil industry out of Venezuela by nationalizing it. I would not buy gas at Citgo. Who do I buy gas from? I buy gas from BP. What's BP stand for? British Petroleum. They pump all of their oil out of the North Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. We also have enough oil in Texas and Alaska to last this country another 3,000, 4,000 years. We don't need a drop of Arab oil. All right? There's no reason for us to purchase it. All right?
You sure about that?
I'm absolutely positive. There's no reason for us to
you're
purchase it.
saying that in the context of we have the oil, we don't need to purchase it. But what about if there's secondary deals with allies or secondary deals with them and they're purchasing something from us? Do you really think,
give me an example
do you really
of what you're
think if
saying.
we didn't need anything from the Arab world, all this terrorism shit would be tolerated? You didn't think we wouldn't have fucking flatlined Afghanistan after 9/11 if we didn't have some kind of economic interest with all of these fucking countries?
We have an economic interest because it's convenient, whereas they already
That's
have
an
the
interest?
infrastructure set up, and it's cheaper for us right now to import the oil from the Middle East than it is.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's what I was going to say, that just because we have the oil and we have the reserves doesn't mean that it's less expensive for us to pump it out of the ground. That's why
Right.
we get oil from Saudi Arabia.
So there's an interest. So go ahead.
The interest is cheaper oil for the time being. By the time it might take us 5 or so years to get set up to be 100% self-sufficient, which Trump was actually working on in his first administration until when Biden got elected and he shut down the pipeline on day one.
And couch it as in we're protecting the Native American lands.
Yeah, and well, first off, I mean, it's like Biden.
No offense to Native Americans, I agree we should protect your lands, but they're full of shit.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Biden didn't do shit. We know that. Somebody made the decision to shut down the pipeline. Sure as shit wasn't Joe Biden. All right, but at the same time,
I'm sorry. I saw Babylon the bee. They're hilarious. They put up a meme that said the Khomeini is contacted Biden's government to learn how to run a country with a dead man. One of the funniest things I've seen.
they're funny. The Onion's good too.
Dan and Zach are fucking fuming in the studio right now. Go ahead.
I don't like that. I don't like the dead Biden jokes.
I know, but it was fucking.
The
it's just
thing
funny.
is-
I don't know. I don't think it's funny. I don't think the dead
I think
Biden
a lot
jokes.
are funny. We're good. Go ahead.
Right now, the only interest that we have in the oil from the Middle East is it's cheap. We don't need it. We have first off, our geography is better for logistics. When you look at the country, one of the things that made us grow so rapidly is the Mississippi River and all of the tributaries that come off of it, which provides for shipping throughout most of the country. All right, so we can move things much cheaper than other countries that rely on rail systems and things like that. The Mississippi River, geographically, we're just superior. All right, that's just dumb luck.
Right.
All right. However, once we get the logistics for oil set up and running, and a government that doesn't want to, or a government that's not being paid off by people in the Middle East to keep the cheap oil from the Middle East flowing, we don't need a drop of Middle Eastern oil. I can tell you right now, we could open up the oil reserves, tell OPEC to fuck itself, and start setting up, and we wouldn't have any disruption to our life until we get in. But that would mean that we have to go ahead and drill in the, what's that wildlife preserve, the Arctic Preserve, Anwar. All right, that would mean that, we have to drill in the Anwar Arctic Preserve, and yes, the caribou dung beetle might go extinct. All right,
Do you think
who gives
the
two
caribou
shits?
dung beetle- Do you think that the populace could agree and Congress would pass that and we could start drilling?
No.
So what the fuck are we talking about?
Okay, well, you've got jackasses in there like
Okay, but that's another
Alexandria
analysis.
Ocasio-Cortez.
We can't get it to pass, so we can't fucking do it.
Okay, here's the thing:
So, but that's
the
big thing.
Republicans have control of the House and the Senate and the presidency.
So okay.
I
for
say-
now.
Yes, jam it down their throat to the point that our entire economy depends on it, so that it can't be undone.
So your solution is pull out of Iran right now.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. Fuck the region. They're just going to leave us alone. They're not going to build any nuclear.
Never said that.
So just fortify at home.
Fortify at home.
Get our own Iron Dome and hope to fucking God they don't get a nuclear weapon.
Never said that. We have aircraft carriers. If they even come close to building a nuclear weapon, target it, take it out. But going ahead. Here we are. Dude, we're bombing like ball bearing plants and shit like that.
Well, we're taking out. They
They
won't be able to fucking build the fucking weapon.
So here's the thing: if we were limiting our strikes to their nuclear capabilities, all right, and things that, but we're not limiting our strikes to their nuclear capabilities.
No, not now.
All right, exactly.
We're trying to take out their entire infrastructure now.
That ship sailed. Now we're destroying their entire infrastructure.
And that brings me to a point this is what I love. This is one thing that, like, when you love your country, right now, you don't care. You want to see the military succeed, right?
Yeah.
You want to see us win. My problem now with the Democratic Party, or not even, I don't want to say Democratic Party, anyone that hates Trump, is that these motherfuckers, they're literally justifying Iran. They're minimizing any potential win, maximizing, and like the Iranian school. Like, they are running with this thing. Like, it's like, are you proud because you could say that we've killed civilians? To what? Just to make your argument against Trump better and bigger?
Exactly. But that's the whole hypocrisy of the left, where they're all up in arms because 132 children were killed, which is horrible and tragic.
Terrible.
Right? But they
on an
couldn't care
IRGC
less.
base, by the way, not minimizing it, but that was on a base, that school, correct?
Well, you won't find that out in liberal media
Sure.
that school was
Doesn't
surrounded
justify it,
by.
right.
That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that they couldn't care less about the 40,000 Iranian citizens that were slaughtered in 2 weeks.
Don't care.
Not a word.
Right.
But 130 children were killed, and it's the biggest deal that there is. This is the hypocrisy that bothers me. But I think it goes back to the same thing. It goes back to the education and the total American ignorance with respect to the Islamic Caliphate and what it is.
Right.
Well, you've got jackasses like that on one side, but then you've also got, and I always get confused these two jackasses, Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell.
For sure.
Mitch McConnell's. I remember him like Glitch McConnell, where he just.
Yeah.
But Lindsey Graham sitting up there and he's like, and we're killing people. And you're like, dude, shut the fuck up and go away.
Right.
I mean, you just, I mean.
Yeah, but he's one senator.
Yeah, well, he just needs to, where's he from?
South Carolina.
Oh, that
Yeah,
fucking figures.
to all my South Carolina peeps and my people I went to high school with, Mike's an asshole. No, but
Well, Idiocracy got that right in the State of the Union address. You're a jackass, dick.
Listen, I think that
But
the
we're-
China. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I have 2
No,
points.
no, real quick. But go ahead, tell your point.
Nah, the first one, the China thing, I think it's above my pay grade because I think a lot of this probably has to do with the China thing, the geopolitical strategy.
Talk about it.
I don't know enough about it.
Right.
That's I guess something left for him or for Brian,
Because
because
we're strangleholding China in most of their oil, and they get other oil too.
I
but
think the
it's
I think
really
the message.
it's putting pressure on them.
Yes,
they're
and
feeling it.
So I think there might be some motivation there, and
Right.
for all I know, it is
Definitely
demotivation. I don't know.
Right.
The point though is the message isn't getting out. I think that's a big problem for the Trump administration is the message about the threat from China is not getting
Because
out.
they can't think about that. Because if they are putting out, they have to have these indiscreet jabs at Russia and China.
Right.
Because any proclamation of us going after China would
Right.
scare the shit out of the world.
Right.
And
you
would
have-
trigger
then
the
you have
World War III talk, right?
Well, so I think that's part of it. But what I really, the other thing is, look, those negotiations where people are like, well, the Iranians came to the table. This is my second point. And then I'll shut up because this is the really one that was most
Go
important.
for it.
Is when, I believe Steve Witkoff, when he got on TV and he said, hey, listen, the very first thing out of their mouths when we sat down at the negotiating table was, we have an inalienable right to enrich our uranium, and that's what we're going to do. That was their opening salvo at those negotiations. So to me, that has to be also a huge motivation here, because if they're basically saying we're not going to stop enriching uranium, then we are facing an imminent threat. And I think that's why this happened.
Right.
Short of, what I don't know about China.
On to the geopolitical thing with China, China gets the vast majority of its oil from Russia and Iran. So by going ahead and shutting off the oil supply from Iran to China, it weakens China. Now, personally, I think the threat China poses to the United States is severely overstated. For every once in a while, it seems like we need, you need an enemy to focus on. And right now it's going to be Russia and China as the big bad boogeymen. But China's own population, it's imploding on itself right now because they had that one child policy for a while. And so parents who had girls were like killing their daughters and keeping pregnancies secret. So you have an overabundance of men and a very small amount of women. Well, guess what happens when you don't have biological women? Is you don't have babies. And when you don't have babies, your population shrinks. So the one child policy is going to have long-term consequences. I was reading somewhere that the estimate of some former CIA guy said that the days of China being a economic superpower will be over in about 10 to 15 years.
Right. And another issue that we have to worry about here, I think, is the security threats here domestically, right? We just had an attack in the synagogue. You know about that,
Yes.
Lloyd? Talk about, can you give the viewers and listeners, just give us a quick brief on what happened there.
In Michigan?
Yeah,
I don't know everything.
right, just give us a quick rundown.
again, we never know what's going on. But yesterday, some, I believe, a naturalized American citizen from Lebanon, an Arab, drove his car into the largest synagogue in or outside Dearborn, Michigan. And from my understanding, is he actually exited the vehicle and opened fire, but was taken down by security personnel at the synagogue. And then the car caught fire inside the synagogue, and he was burned to death. So I don't know if he was still in the car or if he was outside the car, but word is that his two brothers were members of Hezbollah and were killed a couple of weeks ago by Israeli airstrikes.
Right, and that's another thing. So Hezbollah is now entered. The Hezbollah, people don't understand Hezbollah's threat. Hezbollah is the biggest armed group that's not technically an army of a country.
Right.
They're a real serious threat, right? And Israel really took most of their leadership and really scared the shit out of them with that beeper operation, which was incredible. But they're still there. They still have a lot of missiles, and they're launching with Israel. Now, people aren't talking like the Israelis. I have family in Israel. They're in bunkers every day, all day right now, because Iran is shooting cluster bombs, right? And
What are those?
Cluster bombs, just like when a bomb comes out, it comes out as a missile, but then when it gets over civilian populations, it spreads, kind of like a hollow point bullet.
Like a shotgun.
Like a shotgun, right? So then the fragments are hitting. It's just meant to maximize damage. Civilian casualties, right?
Can I go into a little bit better
Go for it.
description? A cluster bomb, basically, bomb gets dropped from a plane and opens up, and hundreds of little bombs on the inside of it disperse out. So instead of it being one big bang, it tosses them over a wide area, and there's lots of smaller explosions. One of the problems that you run into with them is not all of the smaller bombs detonate. So when, people will be walking along and, step on one and it'll go off.
So you're planting landmines, essentially.
They have different ones that do that. But these they're meant to cause like multiple explosions across a wider area. And but the problem is that not 100% of those little ones go off.
Right.
It's not intentional. They're all supposed to go off, but they don't.
They've created a bigger problem for themselves, because even let's say we use this option of the Israeli ground, because Israel's not going to stop unless the United States says stop, right? Because now their civilian population threat is just not, you can't turn away from it.
I don't think Israel has the logistical capability.
This is what I was going to say. So logistically speaking, what would happen now, and I think will happen, is Israel would have to utilize some American bases in Muslim countries. And if that starts to happen,
that's not
they're
good.
already cooperating. Listen,
The Gulf
Bahrain,
states, yep.
UAE, all of these guys are signed on to the Abraham Accords. You
That
understand
is
that?
the governments. It's not the
It
people.
doesn't matter. I'm talking about the governments and the bases, okay? Jordan's shooting down missiles. Iran is just bringing everybody closer together in the Middle East. That's why when Lloyd and I say this could be monumental, it is monumental, right? And this is why October 7th didn't happen by accident. It happened because Saudi Arabia was talking about normalizing relations with Israel. So, and when you start to see this happen, it's going to change the face of a lot of things, and it'll keep peace at home too for the U.S. We're forever entangled in these things because you can't not be entangled, because it's a direct threat to us. You don't think they're trying to plot right now to blow fucking buildings up in our country?
No, I'm sure they are.
Is that not a problem for you?
It's a big problem, but we're entangled in it because we chose to get entangled in it.
I disagree.
Well,
Why do you think the shores of Tripoli? The shores of Tripoli. Why?
You
From
can
the
be wrong.
halls
It's
of
okay.
Montezuma. Let me sing it. To the shores of Tripoli. What do you think that was about?
I know it is the
They were
Barbary
attacking the
Pirates.
fucking shipping fucking routes. And John Adams and those guys are like, what the fuck are these guys' problem? Why are they blowing our ships up? You remember what they told them?
And
you
they
guys are
took-
kafirs.
Right.
It's our duty to kill you.
Yes.
They were Muslim, the Somali pirates,
Do
basically.
you think they
Absolutely.
chose to fucking start
Understand
fighting
that.
the
And
Libyans?
What did we do? We went in there, we kicked their ass.
Libyans
and we
fucked with Doc
left.
Brown.
And we left. All right. So
Yeah,
we went
okay,
in there,
different
we kicked
times.
their ass. We left.
Right.
All right. The big problem, oh, by the way, there was another terrorist attack you didn't bring up yesterday.
Dearborn yesterday?
No, it was Old Dominion University in
Yes,
Virginia.
that's the one.
Where
You didn't hear about that one?
There was a guy, where was he from?
I don't remember where he was from.
He was some, I'm not going to just make up a random Muslim name, but insert random Muslim name here.
Yeah.
All right. And he was a naturalized citizen of the United States who'd actually served in the Army National Guard and got convicted like
Yes.
13 or so years ago for attempting to provide material support for ISIS,
Right, and it was back on the street.
and was released. And he walked into an ROTC class at Old Dominion and started popping,
Oh, Jesus.
And I think he got beat to death, didn't he?
Yeah, the students in the class, the ROTC
Hey, don't fuck
students,
with an ROTC class, you know?
they
Like,
beat him to death.
that's like we're attacking the wrestling team. Like,
Yeah.
good luck.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe go after the polo
Yeah.
team. You know, like,
Yeah.
The soccer team.
yeah.
Not so much the polo team, they're tough.
Yeah, actually, never mind. I don't even know.
I
You
wouldn't
know,
fuck
like,
with the polo team.
yeah, go after the luge team. You know, like,
So,
The golf team. How
but
about
I think he killed 2 people and wounded 1.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
And again, you know, so that is a problem.
And was screaming Allah Akbar, of course, as he was doing it.
Yeah.
Sign
And
off.
So, I mean, there's definitely, you know, I know the intercepted communication, which they said was to activate Iranian sleeper cells. I don't know how accurate that is, or, you know.
Well, you don't need a communication. All you have to do is watch the videos of the live feeds from the mosques all around the country.
Yeah.
You know, in California and in Michigan, and you hear the rhetoric that comes out of their mouths. It's amazing that there aren't more of these attacks.
It's scary.
Well, I mean, the one thing, and you guys can answer this, I don't understand it.
Well,
All
this is
right?
going to be a Jewish
Yeah,
question.
it is a Jewish question. All
Oh,
right?
the Jewish question.
Yeah, there it is.
It's a Jewish question. Number 1, how come you guys don't have somebody with a gun in the front of your school?
They
We do.
They
You
did.
do? Okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why that's
Like
what
a,
Why that
a-
guy's
a
dead.
good gun, like
No,
an
dude,
M240.
go to Chabad in front of a lot of the
Go
guys
to
like
Weston.
fucking armed, fully tactical people now.
I'm
They
not
have
talking
to-
about like a 9mm.
tactical.
No,
I'm
no.
talking about the guy looks like he fucking walked out of
Standing
the Golani
outside,
Brigade.
Okay. No, number 2. All right. You know, I hear, and I've heard you guys talk about it before, where, you know, younger Jewish kids get picked on or bullied when they're
Yeah, I
younger.
agree with this. What you're about to say.
Krav Maga.
No, fuck Krav Maga. All right,
Don't get him going.
Don't get me started on
Yeah.
that trash. All right. You need to start raising young Jewish kids to punch a motherfucker in the
Yeah,
face.
that's
Well, it's called the IDF.
All right. So-
They are. You're talking about American Jewish
Yes.
kids. I agree.
Me too.
And there's actually this big MMA fighter who went out there, and that damn Blazarian fuck putz, you know that guy,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
scumbag.
I know, yeah.
He said, "I'd like to kill Israelis," and this guy came out. He's an MMA guy. He's like, "I'll meet you anywhere right now. I want you to come kill me." Right?
I think I know who it is.
Yeah, but he says this, and they all say this. We need to, and the MMA fighter fights in UFC. He's also a really tough guy. He was like, "Listen, we need to get our culture able to defend themselves." I think that you're absolutely right. You know, it's just that it's not that the Jews can't be tough or aren't tough. They're just, the focus has been education, and the focus has been different things in the Jewish homes, and morals and principles and marriage and love and all the stuff, the Judeo-Christian principles. Not so much beat people up, you know, because it's also a fucking very animalistic way to think, but it's necessary in these times. I agree
Well, yeah,
with you.
if you know, okay, there's some things like where my family's from. My family's from West Virginia, and if you say certain things to, you know, people from West Virginia, there's going to be a fight.
Well, there's
and-
certain Jews. You say certain things to certain Jews, there's going to be a
Right,
fight
depends.
too. As
Yeah,
a
I
whole.
mean, it's like,
Where
but
you are,
it needs
Brooklyn.
to be across the board. You guys need to tell each and every one of your kids, if somebody starts calling you like Christ killer or something like that, there's like nothing. It's just walk up to them, just pop them right in the mouth right now. Because what needs to happen is the stereotype of Jewish people is passive, nonviolent, like it just
American
go
Jewish
along
people.
to get along.
Right.
All right,
Easily picked on.
that needs to be smashed.
I agree with you.
All
I
right?
definitely, I think we're all in agreement for the
that
first time on this
absolutely
panel.
needs to be smashed. Teach your kids, if somebody messes with them, punch them in the face, take the suspension. It's okay. You're Jewish, you're still going to get into a good college.
But look, we have the IDF now. That's the idea, is we're tired of being on our knees, right?
Yeah.
Fuck you. We're not Jews with trembling knees, right?
Yeah.
But the IDF are Nazis. They're killers. They just, because they don't like a Jew that defends himself.
They're going to say it
They
anyway.
hate
It
it.
doesn't matter.
They hate it. The IDF are committing war crimes. All of a sudden it's war crime. Motherfucker, we're taking out, look at this. I mean, we're taking out everything. It's not even a real picture. But like, you know, we're taking out the weapons that we have, that we drop. When the U.S. drops weapons, Mike.
I was about to say, it looks like Seattle.
No, it's not Seattle for the viewers and listeners. But, you know, the weapons that we use as the United States military are just, they come from outer fucking space at this point. You know what I mean? So, like, but the IDF gets shit on when they use it. And these guys are using cluster bombs. Nobody's talking about it. And Let me move to the liberal media, because this is crazy what's been happening. Because we're in war. You know what? Back in the day when we were in war, it didn't matter. Everybody united. And that's the problem. That's our weakness in this country right now. I think it's our weakness. In any other country in the world, I venture to say that when you're at war, they unify. Okay? Maybe not in Iran right now. But you know what I mean? When you're in Israel, Israel is just as divided as the United States. That's what people understand. Likud, Marak Party are like here and here, right? And back to real quick, the other point, you said there's some fanatics in our government, like Lindsey Graham. They're senators, they're loose people here and there. This is an entire government of people in Iran. This is the ruling party, right? So that's the biggest problem.
All the people in the Iranian government are fanatics.
Right. But back to the other point, back to my other line of thought now. They're so divided in Israel, but when shit goes down, nothing unifies you than like running to a fucking bomb shelter together with your neighbors, and it doesn't matter what political fucking party they are. We don't have that here. We have the luxury of not having that. But now, we also have this media that is so swayed to the liberal side, it's insane. Did you see the CNN tweet? Have you guys seen?
I saw the video.
I avoid CNN.
What's her name? Abby. What's her name? The anchor.
The black girl?
Yeah, the pretty.
I forgot her name.
Black girl.
Yeah, she came out and apologized afterwards.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was actually my question.
I'm going to read the tweet. So 2 kids, they go to an anti-Muslim protest, and they threw bombs into them. It was an Al-Qaeda terrorist attack, okay?
Yeah.
This is the tweet from CNN, okay? This is real. I'm not making this up.
This is the kids in New York City?
Yes.
Okay.
No, yes. 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Why the fuck are you putting that in a tweet, first of all, okay? But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zoran Mandami's house. It had nothing to do with Mandami. They threw him at anti-Muslim protests. Otherwise beautiful. The headline should have been 2 fucking Al-Qaeda operatives commit a terrorist attack against U.S. citizens in a protest. How in the world is this happening to where CNN could put a tweet out like that and take it? And what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormal? Why would anyone take this agency serious anymore?
Nobody does.
No, that's not true. I guarantee anyone that's anti-Trump watches CNN all day. All day.
Anybody who watches Rachel Maddow CNN, I don't have any respect for their opinion.
She's MSNBC, right? They're complete lunatics, though. But and Fox has their fucking thing too. They go crazy on the other end. But CNN,
you know who's good? What is it? Sky News? Is Sky News Australian news?
Yeah. Yes.
Sky Australia, because they're conservative. Go watch Sky News in Britain. You'll be like, they're fucking crazy.
Right.
You know, it just
BBC.
depends on where they're leaning, right? BBC. But like CNN, I don't see how we can take that agency seriously anymore. Like these headlines, instead of like, there's no unity at all. It's, we shouldn't be there. This is a stupid war. We're going to commit. It's all like, just let's make the political party look bad so we could use it for fucking fodder next time.
Well,
you know? What's your
Abby
thoughts?
Phillips is her name. And that I just looked it up. And that really got under my skin, because so much of what I believe, you know, the left understands is because of the media that they watch. So is it any wonder why they have some of the opinions that they have?
Right.
You know, when you watch Fox News, you know the difference between, you know, Laura Ingraham, who gives you her spiel, or Sean Hannity, or the personalities from the news. Right. You're smart enough to go, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's his opinion or her opinion.
Right. And you know, okay, that's an opinion, but that's news. And you're you know, smart people are able to extract, you know, what is news. Now whether it's accurate is another story. Okay. But you know the difference between the shtick, you know, of a Sean Hannity and news. Well, Abby Phillips, right? This is her. She's a you know, a popular, pretty anchor. She comes out and says that those bombings were directed at Mandami. I mean, this is, you know, it's on video. The video came out before anything, where you see the young men throw the bombs into the crowd.
Right.
And she comes on TV and says that, basically framed the whole thing that the bombs were directed at Mandami and that they were thrown by the anti-Muslim protesters. So if I'm watching CNN, why would I not believe that that's what happened?
It's crazy. And meanwhile, there are Muslims that threw at the anti-Muslim protesters, and the protesters were there protesting Bandami.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but the question,
they were conducting a permitted peaceful protest,
right, which they have the right to
outside
do.
of Gracie Mansion,
Right.
right? Not bothering anybody. And these two guys came and threw those bombs.
Yeah,
Right,
actually,
but
them.
it begs the
pretty sure it
question.
bothered those two guys.
But listen,
Yeah, pretty sure.
It's,
but
It's
I-
on video.
but
You
like
see it.
how it's almost sinister. Like, what is your interest here
This is what I
when
mean.
you're
It's-
looking at this headline, right? Your interest is what?
It just
Just to make. So is it? I'm just going to say that the Muslims are getting attacked to make Trump look bad, or is it?
I
We
don't.
need to say the Muslims look bad because we're trying to protect Muslims. And why are we trying to protect
Both.
Muslims? Like, there's just
Both.
so many
It's
sinister
because it's all-
plots
right,
in that.
because it's all ideology based. Nobody cares about facts anymore. It's all how can we, because they hate Trump so much.
Yeah, CNN
that-
doubled down on that.
I believe that TDS is real, that they can't get out of their own way and really understand the difference between, his personality, the things he says, and
And
some
what
of the
he
things
does.
that he does.
Right.
And they've lost their ability to think critically. Yesterday, a lawyer who I will not name put something on Facebook about how 17,000 civilians have been killed by the Americans in Iran, and cites NPR. And I'm like, how does NPR know this? There are no Western journalists on the ground.
There's no fucking internet.
Iran. And a lawyer goes and posts it without any critical thinking,
Right.
asking that question. Well, wait a second. Let me look into this. How could NPR possibly know that?
Right.
Because the Iranian government said so, right? It's the same idea. Because the Hamas Ministry of Health said something, they put it on TV as though it's real.
Right.
And this is what frustrates me, because people are being manipulated
Right.
on both sides.
Right. So, I just want to talk about some real quick, because I don't want to keep viewers and listeners too long. But let's talk about, as legal analyst, quickly, because this is the arguments that I'm hearing. Like we talked about with Brian a little bit, like lawyers. And Brian, he downplays it. Doesn't matter what they think, but it does, because their voices are out there, right?
I don't agree with Brian.
Legality of U.S. trucks, war powers versus Congress. Can we, Mike, if you want to break it down, because Lloyd gave a little bit, explain how absolutely the President of the United States can initiate strikes and what the war powers are and when Congress has to get involved.
Okay. First off, my opinion is the War Powers Act is unconstitutional as a whole.
And
All
it
right?
came into play when?
Gosh.
79,
It
73?
was after Vietnam.
Right. It's not from our founding fucking forefathers. So let's
Yeah.
put that out there. But go ahead.
What basically the issue is that the president is the commander in chief of the military, meaning he can say he goes ahead and makes the orders, the military follows them.
Right.
All right. However, Congress is the only governmental body, one of the governmental branch, all right, that has the power to declare war. Now, what the War Powers Act says is that you need to get Congress's permission before you basically start a war like Vietnam or Korea, something of that nature. All right, so it's like if there's a prolonged commitment of U.S. troops and resources, then there's the president's supposed to go to Congress to ask permission. Well, the Constitution doesn't say that he has to ask permission. And by the way, when you declare war, a whole new set of rules under international law kick in. When you have a limited military conflict, like going into Venezuela or dropping bombs in Iran, that is not a war. There's now different rules. All right. So what the conflict, it's a power struggle between Congress and the executive, where you have somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who says that all military action needs to be approved through Congress.
Just on its face, what a joke is that? Seriously?
Okay, exactly. All right. Well, all military action by President Trump needs to be approved through Congress.
So tip
All right?
your hand to the Congress about any strike that you're going to do strategically.
Yeah, and now if
that's
the president gets word that there's going to be an imminent attack on the United States, all right, then what? He has to convene Congress before he acts.
Makes absolutely no sense.
All right, it's stupid. And Bill Maher, not a big fan, but he had Adam Schiff on the other night, where he said, was talking about this, and he said something to the effect of, you can go online and watch it. He said the administration said there was an imminent threat against the United States, which gives the president the authorization to act with military force, something to that effect. And he said, okay, so Senator Schiff, is that too vague for you? He's like, that's way too vague. It doesn't say. And then Bill Maher's like, well, that's what Obama that's what Obama said to attack Libya. All right, which, and then.
Right, it was Obama's quote.
Yeah, it was Obama.
He set him up. Bill
Yeah.
Maher set him up, set up Adam Schiff, and he gave him the quote, and Schiff was like, oh, that's vague, thinking that it was Trump's quote, and it turned out to be Obama's quote.
Yeah, and then you saw Adam Schiff going like, well, and later Obama, we told him he wasn't going to go into Syria, and he didn't act without congressional authority then, so, Obama good, Trump bad. But basically what it is you have people in Congress like Cortez, Schiff, Pelosi, who they're just trying to start a fight. No. They're trying to start something. And the problem is that there's a lot of dumb people in this world who don't know how the Constitution's set up.
Well, not even dumb people, just people that just don't know how the Constitution is set up, right?
Okay, uninformed people and dumb. When you go ahead and you combine the amount of people in this country that are uninformed with the amount of people who are uninformed and dumb, that's a large chunk of the country.
I agree. Lloyd, your thought?
I agree with everything he said.
That's a first. It's not a first, actually. That's great. No, but I agree. But what I see is when I see the people that like I said this on a prior episode, lawyers that went to law school, that we're not saying that all lawyers, there's a lot of schmuck lawyers. Let's put that out there right now.
Yeah, our standards are pretty low.
Right.
Getting lower.
No, but I had a guy that I sat in class with in constitutional learning. I know what the executive branch can do. You know what they can do. We've read case after case after case after case. And for you to come out and put this blurb on Facebook explaining how, Congress needs to be this and Congress. So I never commented. I commented, and he responds back, oh, well, I think there were exigent circumstances here that he should have went. I'm like, you're just talking in circles. And the problem is we're weak as a country because we're this divided. And I don't think we've ever been this divided short of the Civil War.
Well, we didn't grow up during the Vietnam era, so I don't know.
Well, remember
you hear those people talk, and everybody says the same thing. Well, in our consciousness, we were that divided. And then the next generation, well, in our consciousness, we were that divided.
Do you think there's ever been a hated president? There probably has, but like Trump right now?
No, I mean, he's an anomaly. I mean, he's unique. He is the most polarizing figure on the planet.
Right.
There's something, it's in the New Testament, so you missed it. All right. Where?
How do you know I didn't read it?
You might have.
I certainly have.
Jesus said something, don't cast your pearls before swine. All right. And what he was trying to say is don't, if you know a lot about a topic and, don't go ahead and just put all this knowledge out in front of a pig who is too stupid and too dumb to understand it. So
you're pointing at me. Are you pointing at me?
No, I'm just saying, arguing with people on Facebook. Don't cast your pearls.
Well, no, I agree. I normally don't.
All right.
But this is not a dumb guy.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's not. He's a smart, learned guy.
Right.
He's just so
the dumb guys
deranged about Trump that he's willing to put aside what he knows or to skew it in the way that he needs to justify, because that's a Trump. He triggers this trauma in people that, it's a bully. People don't like bullies, right? And I think he triggers it so hard in people that it overcomes your brain. Your emotion can overcome your brain. You know that.
I mean, I understand it's really hard to get over, grab them by the pussy.
I mean, there's a lot of shit he said.
that
Oh,
is-
no. That's not.
Dude, I
It
was
shouldn't have
in
been
a
said.
college wrestling locker room
I
at a
don't
Southern
care.
Baptist
It's the
college.
president of the United. He was
And
running.
I have dirt on preachers,
I don't care.
guys who are preachers now who said worse than that.
I don't care.
Listen, I'm
This
not
is-
saying.
this is a-
It wasn't presidential. We agree on that.
This is
Okay.
a man running for the president of the United States.
Right. You shouldn't. Listen, you can't defend everything the guy does. You can't defend
Yeah.
a lot of what he does, but you should be able to analyze.
But isn't that the point, Danny, that we're
Right.
trying to make? That an objective, intelligent person can say, that's fucking bullshit, but that's okay.
Right.
Or I don't like him, but I like what he did there.
Exactly.
And there is none of that.
Right. Exactly. Like right now, he's taking out a horrible regime. And he did
Saving
what he
people,
did in
trying to save
Venezuela with Maduro, and now Cuba's at the table, I hear. So I mean,
These people in
In the
Iran are
end-
begging. They're begging. They're desperate.
right?
It's heartbreaking to
Right.
hear them on their Instagram, on their feeds coming on and saying, please help us.
Right.
And to have the American left be like, nah, we don't care.
Well, let's see how it unfolds. I'm hoping that this thing gets over quicker than
For sure. With as few
everything. And then,
casualties as possible.
right, exactly. And all right. Anybody last parting words on this? We'll be talking about it. I'm sure it's going to be
Plenty to
but
talk about.
hopefully next time we come on, it's over. But I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for coming on as usual. Thank you for discussing this with me. To all my listeners and viewers, thank you for watching Two Taps and Friends. Like we say, please like, subscribe to the channel. If you like, subscribe to the channel, it gives us more outreach. We're able to bring more guests, more panels, talk about more stuff, come on more often. We're on everything, Instagram, we're on YouTube. Go check us out on all these platforms. Thank you all for listening and watching. We love you all. Goodbye. Cut.